And alright, now we're good. Ooh. Alright, I only played one RPG this month, so
Okay.
let me actually make sure that's not true.
I played 5, but really mostly 1.
Did I start Dragon Age Origins last month?
You both talked about it last month.
Yeah, I think I had started it, but I only played like 10 minutes.
I know you were playing it last month, Sim.
Yes.
Well, not for
Because
last episode, though. I talked about Dragon Age 1 and 2 last episode.
Oh,
And I know
right,
this for a fact because I listened to it yesterday because I couldn't remember where I left off.
I know you talked about it because you were talking about how you weren't going to play Inquisition, and we were both like, "You need to play
Just
Inquisition.
play Inquisition.
Just play it."
So good.
Yeah, I think I've spent more time in Theodos than the real world at this point.
It's
Yeah.
totally cool.
I
Don't spoil it for the early enters.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Alright, we ready to get started?
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels. I'm your host, Boston. Going around the room, we got Musum
Hello.
and Mina.
Hi.
Hopefully everybody had a good holiday break for everybody's respective holidays, no matter what sort of listener you are. But we have been spending the last month playing, well, probably the three of us have been playing one RPG, but I won't spoil which one that is. But let's just get started with Musum. What have you been playing?
Okay. Let me get rid of the filler stuff first, and then we'll go.
The less good games.
Yeah, we'll go to where my life is gone.
Yeah, the ones that don't have dragons in them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Let me see. Obligatory been playing Warframe. They had a event with the Arcwing. They've gotten the Arcwing a lot better now. It's more fun to play. The event was more fun to play, but you know, if you're curious about Warframe for the Arcwing, you probably have an 8 hours, 8 hours of game before you can unlock that. Well, and that's just gameplay. You actually have to, you know, make it, which is another 2 days or something. But but the event was mostly good. It was neat. They added these social hubs that you could go to. They basically added Destiny in.
Nice.
Because they now have social hubs and a specialty vendor who comes in like every 2 weeks and uses a special currency that you can only get by selling prime parts, which are parts you can only get from certain dungeons and things like that.
Yeah, that's Destiny.
Yep. Speaking of, played through the most of the Destiny DLC.
Oh yeah, I haven't even started that.
Well, you can get through the everything but the raid within about, you know, an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty short. I like the new missions, but they're very much in places you've already been for the most part. I think there's one place you haven't been in the lot of it, which Giant Bomb showed on their quick look.
Oh, okay. Yeah, our main problem was my wife wasn't level 20 yet, so she couldn't start the quest chain, which I thought was odd.
Yeah, they've done that the whole time though.
Yeah.
So it's annoying and it's there.
I think it was mostly surprising to us too, where we're like, "Oh, what level are you?" She's like 18. It's like, "Oh, well, I guess we had to grind a little bit to get to level 20." But you know,
I don't like the exotic exchange thing.
Yeah, I wish that was a little more graceful.
Yeah, like I kind of thought they would just have all the stuff available and you could make the switch, but instead it's like I feel like it's they just performed a magic trick.
Yeah. Well,
they're we'll give you a better weapon, but you gotta grind like all the hours again because you already had your weapon leveled up.
I feel like there's some weird stuff too with Like the fact that only 10 items, 10 exotics are available every week for exchange from Zur. It feels a lot like they made this game and then now they're kind of like, oh, but we should do this stuff because all the new, the blues and the purples are so much better than some of the exotics. We should allow people to trade them. And when they go and they look, when Bungie goes and looks at the framework they've built, they're like, well, that's kind of bigger than what we made. So we can kind of shoehorn it in for now, but maybe we'll have to fix it properly later.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm Destiny kind of, for the most part, I'm done with it. I have some new friends that are playing it, and I'll probably hop on and play it with them once in a while. And obviously, I paid for the season pass when I got the game. And so I will inevitably play the new DLC when it comes out. But
Yeah.
even as much as I'd like to do the new Crota raid, that may just never happen. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm at level 29 and I can level up the armor stuff I have now, which is legendary stuff, which maxes out at light 33, which you need light 36 to get up to 32. So,
Jeez.
I
I mean, it's all kind of like that was fine enough for the original game, but now that they just kind of turn the dials up for the expansion, it's sort of like, okay, well, now I have to do this again. And I was in the middle of doing it. It's not even like a WoW expansion pack where it's sort of like, all right, well, we got some new currencies, we got some new reputation bars. All right, maybe I'll go back through and do that. It's like, well, I was already doing it, and now I have to do more and do it harder. Like, I don't. Why am I still doing this right now?
yeah, it's their feedback loop. Quite frankly, sucks.
Yeah.
The shooting part is good.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
aesthetic is good,
Hmm.
but
And the
I
lore
don't
is
know.
good too. I like this some of the story stuff they're trying to tell, primarily through the Grimoire cards. But I won't harp on the in-game story since I think everybody knows that's a problem. But
Well, and I guess it's actually kind of like another game, and that there's some small things they could have done that would have made the main single player story in that game 1,000 times better.
yeah,
But anyway, played an itsy bitsy bit of Persona Q, but that's primarily because I've been living in the land known as Thetis for the last month.
nice.
So I have, because I got basically 2 weeks off in December.
I did too, which was all Dragon Age Inquisition all the time.
Pretty much. I've been sleeping from about 8 a.m. to noon most days. So before I get to Inquisition, though, last time I was talking about Dragon Age 2, I left off, I had just finished Act 1.
Okay.
I've now beaten it and done all the DLC. The second act I thought was pretty good with the Quinari. I wish there was some. What's that?
But before you go on, the thing that I replayed some of Dragon Age 2 actually this month, and something that I noticed was when I went through the acts, I noticed that when you're in Act 1, you're like, okay, so this is going to be the story, get money or whatever. But then you end Act 1 and it's kind of like, okay, so that wasn't really the thing.
Yeah.
So you hit Act 2 and Act 2 happens and I'm like, okay, so this is the story. And then Act 2 kind of ends and you're like, okay, what is this story?
The Qunari are cool, but they're not invading? What?
What's going on? I don't know what's the main story here.
Yeah.
So I now know some of the confusion that I think you may have had, because I too was kind of like, what is the main arcing story in this game?
What
Like if
happened
you
in
were
this
just,
game?
I was like, and they kind of sprinkle it in
Yeah.
a little, but it's kind of this. You really didn't know what was going to happen until it hits you.
Yeah.
Well, they have Mage Templar stuff through the whole game, but they don't have a big arcing war or something in that neighborhood that is causing your companions to have to do what you tell them to.
Right.
But it's kind of I've had, because I beat it almost right after the last podcast. I just plowed through it that next week, and they that game really is about Kirkwall. I mean, when it comes down to it, and I think if Varric obviously loves Kirkwall, and that comes out in him even in Inquisition, you know. And the rest of the characters are kind of just there by circumstance, but I forgot where I was going with this. When it gets to Act 3, actually at the very end of Act 2, you're introduced to Knight Commander Meredith and the Circle Enchanter Orsino.
Yeah.
These are two characters. I think the story would have been 1,000 times stronger if the first time you had seen these characters was at the beginning of Act 1 when you arrived in Kirkwall.
Right. That's a good point.
Like, you didn't need to have Hawk talking to them or anything like that, but if you had just been waiting in the gates and, there's Commander Meredith making a decision and then walking off or something like that.
Yeah, or they're fighting or something.
Yeah, and just kind of had that through the whole narrative. What happens in 3, I think, would have had a greater emotional impact.
Yeah.
Because do you guys mind if I go full on spoilers in this? I mean, this is
for 2.
Game. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine for 2.
Go for it.
So Act 3 basically destroys the game. Okay, maybe it doesn't. I really don't like Act 3. Anders blowing up the Chantry.
Yeah.
Like, in the context of Dragon Age 2, okay, I'll give you that. It makes sense. His character is stubborn and slightly insane.
And possessed.
Yeah. In the context of Dragon Age Awakening, that makes no sense.
I was going to say, I played Awakening first, so I did romance him in 2, which regrets.
Whoops.
Because I was really mad, and this is probably why I was just like, stupid game. Stupid game. Not going to play you.
Well, and I feel like in 2, you don't really... I feel like that happening, you can't really, not that you need to be able to stop it, but I feel like you had no role in it happening, either like trying to prevent it or accidentally making it happen. It's just gonna happen no matter what.
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of antithetic to what Dragon Age 1 and Inquisition does, where typically your choices have large either consequences or large sweeping narrative changes. You know, the ending of the games are going to be the same, but your path there is typically pretty different depending on what your choices make. But there's kind of like that, to use a Doctor Who terminology, there's like a fixed point in time right there where Anders has to blow up the Chantry. There's really nothing you can do about it.
I kind of wish they had just done that with every character in your party if they were going to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It does go against Dragon Age. I guess the only part that really bothers me about kind of it taking the narrative out of your hands in that aspect is the fact that Anders' loyalty mission is helping him get the ingredients for the bomb.
Oh
God,
God,
that's right. Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
And no matter what you do, it happens. So it's
yeah.
I was so dumb because I didn't realize what the ingredients were, but it you should realize what it is, because isn't like one of the ingredients like salpetre or something like that, or some sort of weird, and then the other is like Drakestone or something.
Yeah.
And if you put 2 and 2 together, you should know what that is.
He is obviously not making a potion to get rid of
yeah. This sounds a little balmy.
I was dumb though when I was just like, oh sure, I'll get you some salpetre and Drakestone, whatever you need to help you.
Well, and to be fair, before I got to the bombing of the Chantry, I had accidentally spoiled myself online because with never having a clue of what Hawk is actually going to say when I click on something, I pretty regularly was consulting guides.
Yeah.
Yeah. because it's random. You pick this option, suddenly Hawk's like, screw you. And like, that was not
No,
what I
want to be their friend.
I wanted to pick.
Yeah. I still really like a lot of the characters in 2, except obviously Carver, who I utterly despise. But like, I think Sebastian was a good character. Varric, I think, is fantastic.
I love Varric.
Varric's great. Who did you romance into?
Meryl.
Oh, okay. Were you playing a male Hawk?
Female mage Hawk.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was an option.
Are you thinking of Aveline? Or no, not Aveline.
No.
I'm not sure. Yeah, Meryl goes both ways. So
okay.
I don't know. She was a neat character. The thing I liked about Meryl is that she was a blood mage that wasn't insane.
Yeah, it was kind of a nice change where it wasn't like this gibbering crazy person.
Yeah, it's like the second they add a little bit of blood to their magic, they're sacrificing babies. And,
yeah.
but like after you make that chantry decision, like they're like, okay, what do you want to do with Anders? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, like nothing
that
good.
Was irritating. And I felt kind of bad for killing him because you're thinking, like he's on the floor on his knees, and Hawk just walks up behind him and stabs him in the back, and I'm like, really?
He came up to me and he wanted me to kill him.
I think in mine he wanted me to kill him too, and I still felt kind of bad. Like it's like, Anders, you're not a bad guy. You just messed up.
You just killed the one person that was keeping the mages and Templar.
Yeah.
Cool with each other.
Yeah.
Because you're an idiot, evidently.
Yeah. It's just such a weird... the end of that game has to finish with the mages and the Templars fighting, but, when you compare it to Dragon Age Inquisition, I feel like Inquisition has a better reason for that to happen, and Dragon Age 2 is sort of like, well, for that to happen inside your party feels like it's reaching a little bit.
Yeah. They could have just had an NPC that you interacted with regularly that wound up doing it. You know?
Or one of the Templar or mage like higher ups.
Well, and story-wise, if this had been the extent of it, and then you picked a mage or Templar side, that would have been fine. But I chose mages, and then immediately had to start fighting mages.
Yep, I did the same.
I always choose mages, and I did in 2, and I did in Inquisition. And man, sometimes the mage choice is weird.
Yeah, they all immediately start using blood magic, and then Orsino, who seemed like a pretty reasonable, nice guy, is suddenly like, oh my gosh, all these mages are dead, because even though I'm fighting Templars, I'm really not. I'm fighting mages. He's like, I'm going to become a giant corpse monster and
that's
fight
right.
things. But
it's just so weird. Where it's like, all right, I'm going to help the mages. Wait, I have to kill them all? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now here are the Templars, and you're like, well, crap. And the Templars like, nope, you got to die now. And oh, guess what? Remember the Red Lyrium, Knight Commander Meredith has it in her sword and has had it in this whole time. And
oh yeah.
That's why she's insane. Like they could have put narrative threads for all these things throughout the game and built them in such a way that it was still a surprise, but you could look back and say, "Oh, they were telling me the whole time."
Yeah.
Right.
And they didn't. So there are a lot of aspects I like about 2, but man, that last half of the third act, I feel like they really dropped the ball.
How'd you feel about the DLC, especially Legacy? I think it is.
Yeah, Legacy I thought was really good.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be really hard not to spoil Inquisition starting now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So Legacy, the whole story on Legacy is you're going to a Grey Warden prison, right? And then you go down and unlock everything. Because this prison was locked up with the Hawkstad, who was a mage, and he used his blood magic to do it.
Right.
So you unlock it, and you get there, and this guy actually looks like the Architect to a degree from Awakening. Like that same style of Darkspawn comes out. Calls himself Corypheus, and I love that line where he's like, I went to the city. It was supposed to be golden, but it was black.
Yeah.
It was God, such good. I love the lore of the Black City and
Yeah.
all that. That boss fight though, I'd kind of hated, but um,
Like all good Dragon Age DLC boss fights, they're pretty terrible.
yeah, because I mean he was they all move in phases, but he kind of just spun in a circle and shot fire, and then you hit him a bunch, and then he added stuff to the fire, and it was
Oh, right, that was that boss battle. That one was kind of
yeah.
not very strong.
I had to replay that a few times.
Yeah.
Because the AI kept staying in the fire.
Yeah. Oh, it feels good, man. Oh, I'm dead. What?
But I really liked that. I really liked the Mark of the Assassin DLC. I think your criticism last podcast of the difficulty level being really inconsistent is entirely valid.
Was that the Felicia Day one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought that DLC was really interesting. You got to see something different out of the world and the lore. Like you got to see like, oh, we're just gonna have a party and hunt some dragons, man. It's all good. It's not like I'm saving the world. Kirkwall's in danger. It's just like, hey,
Yeah.
we're here to have a good time and kill some dragons.
Yeah, and Liliana shows up at the party, and
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. There are a lot of neat things in it. And I think it went on a little bit too long, and the stealth section was.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that?
My God, why?
I anyway. So that's Dragon Age 2. So now to where I've spent most of my life, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Have you finished it?
I have not.
Okay.
I feel
I am. So before we start talking about this, I want to say, this is the only thing I've been playing for the last month. I finished my first playthrough on normal. That was
Oh God.
almost 100 hours even. It was like 99 hours and change. I did everything. Like there's only one mission I couldn't finish because it's bugged. And I'm on my second playthrough on Nightmare, and I'm almost at 40 hours.
and that's the weird thing to me is I actually am thinking I may immediately start a second game on this after I beat it.
I would actually recommend Nightmare. It is no joke. Like it is for real. Like normal is probably a little too easy, but Nightmare at some points is really, really challenging.
Well, in terms of like the gameplay too, I had played the majority of the game with the regular action view, whatever it's called.
Yeah, like the Dragon Age 2 view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started fighting dragons. I do not believe like I beat the Crestwood dragon
Yeah.
in action view, and that was the only dragon I've been able to do that. I had to learn the tactical view.
Oh,
to
weird. I
start
beat all 10
fighting
of
the other
them
ones.
in action view.
Oh wow! What? I guess maybe what class are you playing and race?
Human warrior with sword and board. And my
Okay.
specialization was champion, I think, whatever Blackwall is. The reason I picked champion was there's a skill that the champion has in their tree, and I do not remember what it's called. But basically, it berserks the enemy, and they do 200% more damage, but they take 100% more damage. And for each, I think, 30 seconds or a minute that goes on, those numbers increase by 50%. That sounds like a disaster, but it also, there's something that ties into it where the longer that's up and the more you get hit, the more your guard increases. So there was this sort of magical area I was able to get into where the dragon was wrecking me, but not doing any damage, and we were doing increasingly more damage to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I need to respec my Blackwall. I'm doing a Quinari rogue.
Okay. Bows or daggers?
Daggers.
Okay, because I'm playing Nightmare as a rogue using bows.
Okay. Well, and daggers is a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
you occasionally take damage when you're fighting a dragon because you're right next to it.
Right.
And I found that the AI in tactical mode is better with a rogue than I am, because usually what I'll do is I'll assign the rogue to attack one of the back legs, and I will have either Cassandra, who, by the way, is now one of my favorite characters.
She's great. I'm trying to romance her in my second playthrough.
That was to sidetrack. When I was trying to figure out what I was going to play for this game, like I really wanted to be a Quinari, but I decided to look up the romance options to just figure that out immediately.
Yeah.
And was kind of bummed that she was only straight, but
Oh, yeah.
but that's okay. What are you playing, Mina?
I am playing a elf, a ranger kind of build. I don't remember exactly what tree I'm going down, but yeah, I'm just playing like an elf.
Yeah, it's funny because I joked to myself when I was rolling up the initial character. I thought, well, I have to be a rogue because I was a warrior in 1 and I was a mage in 2.
There we go.
And Dragon Age 4 is obviously going to star all of my main characters.
Sure.
And halfway through Inquisition, I thought, maybe that joke was could be a valid prediction.
Did your main character from 1 make it at the end?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
see, mine didn't.
I rigged it so Logain took the fall.
Oh, interesting. Man, we do need to have a spoiler cast.
My character became queen and with King Alistair from the first one.
Wow,
so
she
she
different.
made it. Oh,
that's so different from mine, and I think both of your Inquisition playthroughs would probably be very, very different from mine.
Oh,
man.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, I think we will have to do a spoiler cast someday.
And there are going to be aspects of it. I know the War Table missions, there are a ton of those that reference the other games.
So the one thing that I think I was most surprised about, and I think my wife was starting to get sick of me over there being like, oh, interesting, is how much they referenced from 2. Because I feel like Inquisition was very much like an apology letter for 2. It's like, sorry, we screwed up. Sorry, this one's good. I promise. No, just come on. Everything.
Yep.
No more 2. Forget about that. But I'm surprised at how much what was introduced and what happened in 2 was really central to the story of Inquisition. You know, like, no spoilers, and we're going to be really good about not spoiling anything for Inquisition since it's only been out for like a month. How central Red Lyrium still was in Inquisition. When I thought it was going to be something that happened in 2 and stayed in Kirkwall, was larger in Inquisition than I thought it was going to be.
They very much turned 2 into really the prelude to Inquisition.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I do like, was the fact that I walked into this game trying to be like, I don't want to remember anything about 2.
Yeah.
And the game was pretty apologetic and kind of like feeding just enough that if I just completely skipped 2, that I would be like, oh, okay, so it's like I don't have to know, but it was actually integrated in the story like that.
Yeah, and nothing in Inquisition, I think, was so important that you really had to play 2, but I feel like I enjoyed Inquisition way more because I had played both 1 and 2, and it very much did take all of my choices that I entered into Dragon Age Keep from 1 and 2, and it really did integrate those into Inquisition. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to be that big, like it's just going to be little things here and there, and I was expecting those choices to kind of live and die on the War Table. But there were a lot of stuff in the game proper there were a lot of things that I had made choices about that carried into Inquisition that I was really pleasantly surprised about. I mean, all the way up until the ending of Inquisition and like the kind of before credits summary thing they do.
Yeah, and honestly, when I do my second playthrough, I'm probably going to go back and do an entirely new Dragon Age Keep just to mess with the variables in it.
You know, that's actually what I did. And what I actually did was when when you start a new game, it says, all right, let's set up your character, and the very last choice is, do you want to accept something from Dragon Age Keep? And this time I said no. I just want to see, like, what's the base level? Like, if you had never played a Dragon Age, what is the default? And I'm kind of surprised because I don't know if they randomize it or not. I'm kind of assuming that they do. But the choice was in Dragon Age 1, the hero died, but she was a mage, an elven mage. And then Dragon Age 2, I haven't run into too much stuff in there. It seems like it's fairly baseline for the common threads for Dragon Age 2. It doesn't seem like they really picked anything too crazy. And I haven't run into anything... in my proper Dragon Age, like my Dragon Age world, I never romanced anyone in 1, and I romanced Isabella in 2. And they carried over that stuff into Inquisition for my normal one, but they haven't really talked about any romance stuff in Inquisition for like the default world state.
Yeah, I don't. They've mentioned both of my romances from 1 and 2 in Inquisition.
Who'd you romance in the first one?
Liliana.
Okay.
And there's, man, I don't want to spoil anything. There is dialogue that references lots of stuff in 1 and 2 that resides with those respective characters from the games. Like, you can, without telling you what he says or anything, you can very much question Varric on aspects of his story.
Yes, yeah, you can sort of be like, what really happened? Like,
he gets kind of mad if you ask him about some things.
Yeah, he starts getting a little defensive, which is, I thought, kind of interesting. I really liked Varric in 2. I think him as the narrator was really interesting. And until I started Inquisition, I forgot that Cassandra was interrogating him. But I feel like in Inquisition they made him a lot more flawed, because I think he was, probably due to his own storytelling in 2, he was really cool and like everything was really great and he was the hero. But in Inquisition he's as broken as everybody else is. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, Varric is definitely one of my favorite characters, and it's weird because in Inquisition, when the game started and I started getting all the characters fairly immediately, I didn't really care about most of them.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, between Varric and Blackwell and Iron Bull and Sarah and Dorian and especially Cassandra. Cassandra's absolutely my favorite character in this game.
Yeah. She's super great.
I disliked her so much in 2. She just
well, she was supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Know? Like she was playing that role pretty well.
I love how adaptable she is in terms of, oh, I'm stubborn, but you've presented me this evidence, so now I'm changing my mind.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting story. So in the first playthrough for Inquisition that I played, I sort of fought against. So these aren't spoilers, but early in the game, there's a lot of people believe you're the Herald of Andraste. And in my first playthrough, I really fought against that. I was just like, no, I'm a normal lady, I just got this crazy green thing on my hand, I don't know where it came from, who knows. And in the second one, I'm trying to really play that up, and it's really, really interesting in how a lot of people, especially Cassandra, changes their viewpoint towards you, because you're building yourself up as the leader of this Inquisition, which is like this, it's like a holy charge. It changes the Inquisition from a group that is doing good for Thedas, and it turns it into this is the second wave of the Chantry, almost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought it would just be like, yay, Herald, woo, like, yay, Andraste. But I'm surprised at how much it kind of permeates through the game. I didn't think it would make that big of a change.
Man. There's so many things to say about this game.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have to actually bit of criticism. I got it on PC,
Okay.
so you guys may already know where this is going. The PC game, the user interface and controls for keyboard and mouse was made by someone who had heard of people playing with these things on PC games and they liked.
They had heard of a keyboard and mouse.
They were like, yeah, I totally used a keyboard to send emails out before. People play games on it. I
Yeah.
understand.
I hear they like shortcut keys. Let's make shortcut keys to the conversation options.
Oh God.
Oh
wait.
my gosh.
You mean you want to see the little symbol previews to tell you which option is what? Oh, my bad.
Oh man, that's.
It's
But
like
At least it looks beautiful on PC.
it does. It does.
It looks really
It's-
good on PS4. But man, that PC version.
Yeah, it's like if you're using keyboard, like I switched to controller, but like one of the other things on keyboard and mouse to control the camera, you have to hold down a mouse button.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have to
God.
like. There's a lot of like buttons and things you have to do on the keyboard. Like it's an excessive amount, and I was like, "Where's my controller? I'm gonna
Where's
plug
my
that
360
thing."
controller?
I went about maybe 30 minutes to an hour and just went in 360. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's unless they introduce some sort of mod support that makes keyboard and mouse plausible, but it's honestly they use because maybe this is simplifying it a bit much, but since the primary mechanic in the game is clicking in your left thumbstick,
yeah, exactly.
and sometimes that vibrates the controller, like I could see them wanting people to use that.
Oh, I should have turned on vibration. See, what's so funny is I have vibration turned off at the OS level for all my consoles because I really don't like it. Does it vibrate when it finds something when you ping?
Yeah, like the hidden alcohol bottles and different story
That would have made that
elements
way
you do.
easier.
Yeah. Yep.
I would have been able to find like those last 3 bottles.
Yeah.
Didn't they send like an update on the PC for that too, where it's like it's expanded or something, like it stays longer, like the little ping or whatever?
Yeah, PS4 got that eventually, but I think it got it a little bit later, where it's like the little blips show up on the mini map and
Right.
they stay on the mini map for quite a while. So that made it way easier, but
Oh, here's the other thing they did on PC that irritates me. So my controller's plugged in. The mouse icon will not hide.
great. I hate that so much. Oh, just irrationally angry about that all the time.
Yeah, and on top of that, if I forget to have my controller plugged in and I start up the game and then plug in the controller, the game makes me restart itself.
It's like you need to close out.
Ugh.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
figured this out, guys. Come on.
This
This is a part of direct input in Windows.
the
Man,
Mass Effect games work right. Like,
that's even more confusing.
what
Well, they did-
changed?
To be fair, they did change. I didn't realize this until pretty recently. Is that they moved away from Unreal Engine to Frostbite Engine for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Right.
So, which doesn't excuse it because I mean, Frostbite was primarily made for Battlefield, so you'd think it would have controller support there too. But who knows?
So, and my only other major criticism, I think, of Dragon Age is the facial animations or lack thereof.
Yeah, I have less of a problem with facial animations because to me that's BioWare. Just they have a really weird middleware for like mouth movements. I think the thing that I don't think I've lost my patience for, but I think they need to resolve before they come out with the next Mass Effect game is cutscene direction. There's too many times where like someone like dives off the screen and then like 2 seconds later they cut to this something else is happening. And it's sort of like it just like it needs to be a bit snappier, and then sometimes stuff moves too quickly. Like when I played the intro again, you know, there's this scene where you get outside for the first time after the very intro, and you look up and the breach is in the sky, and it holds on the breach for like a 15th of a second and then switches away. And it's like that thing is so cool looking. Like just give me like a second or two to be like ooh, and then then we can go on. It's kind of little stuff like that.
You see, for me, it was like I feel like okay. Have you seen that CGI movie Beowulf?
No, but I've seen enough like videos of it.
Like to me, this game is like that movie in that if you take a still from it, it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
But then you start playing it and they all move like Shrek. Like when my Inquisitor is giving a gut-busting laugh and barely moving.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird. But anyway, that's
Well, it's that same sort of BioWare weirdness. Like they've been doing it since like Jade Empire, where someone is done with a conversation with you, or like they're gonna move to a conversation where it's like a walk and talk. So the person just like turns to the side and just marches off frame, and like your Inquisitor is there by himself. Like, what is? Okay, now we're going. Like it's just this weird like it's like I always reference it like the BioWare walk and talk in my brain, where someone's just like, and we're done and we're moving, and they just like they pivot and then they walk off. It's just sort of like. I feel like now some of that stuff needs some love. Like, if they could have done that and made the hinterlands smaller, that probably would have been okay. But,
Or guide you out of the hinterlands, like, you need to go.
Yeah, just
come on. There's a clock going. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I've completed basically everything in the hinterlands except for I'm missing 2 of the tapestry pieces, and there's some quest that requires an item that I have no idea how to get.
Oh yeah, and there's one quest that's bugged in the hinterlands. The one for finding the mercenary fortress. I actually managed to go around the back of the fortress, get the thing I needed to get in there, go do the next quest, and then go back, and I can't complete the first step of that quest because it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So apparently I'm not the only person to have done that. So there's a lot of people out there who've been like, how do I finish this quest? And it's like, well, now you can't.
It's weird like how many giant areas they have in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have some small areas, like the places that I don't remember the names
Val
of.
Royale is a little tiny.
Yeah, and it's like, why couldn't they have just started you in kind of a quarter-sized map, for your beginning thing if they wanted you to leave so quickly? But
well, it's interesting, like how varied the environments are. Like when you look at the Storm Coast, that's a pretty interesting area, and it's not the most exciting, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. And then they have 3 desert areas, and the Hissing Wastes is nearly empty. There's a really interesting quest chain in there that I think finishes in a very cool way, especially if you bring Varric along with you. But most people are going to go in there and be like, there is literally nothing in this zone. Why should I do anything?
Yeah, the Hissing Waste, I don't. They even make jokes about it when you get there, about there being nothing there. And
one of the
then
coolest...
they give you a map that looks small, and you're like, oh, this isn't a big deal. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, I thought this camp was like
yeah, exactly.
5 minutes away.
Yeah. I wanted to mention also, there are a lot of really great dwarven characters in this game, like Scout Harding. She's probably one of my favorite characters. Same with Dagna, your arcanist. She's great.
Can you imagine this game without Dagna? Like,
no, I would not like this game without Dagna.
She's from the first game.
Oh, is she?
She is a character in the first game. Like what happens in Origins is she has a dad that is a smith. She wants to leave. Mm-hmm. You can actually talk her into staying.
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting.
she may have never gone to the Circle of Magi, and who the heck is your Arcanist then?
Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. Oh, man. Yeah, there's so much to love about Inquisition, and I feel like all of it is really of a high quality throughout. I mean, even the Hissing Wastes are kind of boring, but it has the best level schematics in it. So you at the very least have to go there for the tier 3 armor schematics.
Well, in truth be told, it kind of looks like... I've never been to Death Valley in California, but that's what it makes me think of, wandering around.
Yeah, it does look like a lot of stuff out here. But, I think... I don't think the Hissing Waste would be that bad if the Exalted Plains didn't look how it did, because the Exalted Plains is kind of boring, especially since you're storming the third of those bunker areas, and you're like, okay, I'd like to be done with all of this now, please. I thought the thing that impressed me the most is, and certainly no spoilers here, but each of the big choices in the game I thought were really, really interesting. And I thought they were kind of big events. And I like that they made each one of those events and each one of those cutscenes and each one of those choices really interesting and really impactful. So it's not just like, oh, I could have gone to the hinterlands and did something cooler. It's like, no, here's going to be a big thing that happened, and it's going to have really important impact on the Dragon Age series going forward. I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do a sequel to this game.
You should finish it. And
Okay.
for anybody that hasn't finished it, you have to stay after the credits.
I've heard the ending.
There is something after the credits. You have to watch that.
I've heard the ending's really divisive.
I think, like, I really don't want to spoil it, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I think
this will be a spoiler cast.
Yeah, there will be a spoiler cast, but I think I like the ending a lot because I feel like it did for Dragon Age 1 and 2, I feel like it kind of opens the door for more stuff in Thedas. So it's sort of like I can tell that they're going for another one. And not really the way that they ended Mass Effect 2, where it's like, and then Mass Effect 3. You know, it's sort of, it might be a couple of years until we get another Dragon Age, but I would assume it would be similar to Inquisition, probably in scope.
I don't think they can go back after this. I think they are. I mean, they could change how the game is presented and plays, but after Inquisition, I think they're going to be stuck with this semi-open world format.
Probably, because I mean, they did that basically with Origins, and you know, each area in Origins had kind of a big divisive decision at the end of it, and I feel like they pulled that back in 2 for a reason, and I think they tried to expand upon it, the Origins formula, and didn't really succeed. But I feel like Inquisition is kind of Origins plus a ton more. You know, it's if each area was able to be open world, so it's like 10 open world areas all in one.
Yeah, it is. Gosh, it's such a massive game. It's weird thinking about, too, how similar it is in kind of playing and structure to Origins, too, because I really hated playing. Like, I like the story aspects of Origins, but, man, just the combat drove me nuts.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's funny, too, every time.
Am I going to have an Anders situation?
What's
I better not have an Anders situation. Oh, the comment in the...
yeah, that would be a full-on spoiler to talk. Have you finished the game, Mina?
No, I am romancing Solus or whatever, and I think I just got crap, I'm forgetting his name.
Dorian Cole?
The Warden and the Iron Bull. I just got them, and I've been traveling around with them trying to progress the story.
Oh, okay. Do both of you have all the characters? There's 9 of them.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm missing.
Yeah, I have all the characters.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 60 hours in. It's funny because about 30 hours in, I was like, I like this game. I'm not sure if it's game of the year for me. And then I did the mission, In This Heart Shall Burn.
Yes. Also, by the way, that on Nightmare.
Oh, jeez.
That I had to level up. Its recommended range is 8 to 11, if I remember correctly. I had to level up to 12 to be able to finish that.
So honestly, for any battle you're dying a lot on, like, the tactical view is not fun to be in, but it's also not like pulling teeth.
There would have been. There's no way. The problem with that battle on Nightmare is not the tactical versus action view, there's a difficulty spike there. And the game gets significantly easier after that major milestone. And the amount of stuff that opens up right there, like it took me a while of just raw farming to get up to level 12 to be able to survive long enough to make it through that fight. Because otherwise you get way overwhelmed and it gets nasty.
Gotcha. Well, in my game, let me think. How can I tell you without spoiling anything?
Have you been to the party? Did you?
Yeah, I just did Wicked Hearts.
Okay.
And after Wicked Hearts, Blackwell's personal mission became available, and that was what I literally just did before the podcast.
Oh boy! All right.
But I get the feeling there's probably I feel like I'm getting close to the end.
So the nice thing about Inquisition that I really like is, you're still a bit a ways from the ending, and the very last mission that you can pick, the story very clearly makes it clear about like, hey, we're gonna finish this thing, like this game. But the war table mission that you pick at the very top, it says, warning, this is the final mission, this is the point of no return. And then it says at the bottom, it's like, after you're done with this, we will return you to the game and you can keep playing to finish up any missions you haven't finished, but once you start this, you have to finish the game. So it will very, very, very clearly like break the fourth wall to be like, hey, this is you're gonna start and finish this all at once. So
I really appreciate that, because that aspect is in Dragon Age and other areas too, and how they communicate that stuff. And I really, really appreciate that. Like, you'll be in a conversation with someone and it'll present the options and you'll hover over it and it will say, this means this character will join the Inquisition, or this means this character will die and you'll ally with
this
these
means
guys.
you're going to kick Sarah out of the Inquisition. It's like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't want to.
I love Sarah.
Oh, Sarah's the worst.
She's my love interest. The one I hate is Vivian.
Yeah, I don't like Sarah, Vivian, and Cole. 3 out of the 9 characters I don't like.
I haven't met any of those 3.
How many hours are you in?
I'm in for like 30 hours. I'm just I
leave the
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll do it.
So Sarah is actually really easy to miss. You can get her in Val Royeaux.
Val Royeaux?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone will shoot an arrow at you, and you have to inspect the arrow.
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's the start of her quest chain.
Yeah, you have to do a war table mission, and then you get another mission. And you go on.
All right.
Vivian starts with a war table mission, and you get either Cole or Dorian, depending on which choice you make for the second big choice of the game. But you can get both of them. I forget how to. I got Cole second in my first playthrough, and I forget how I got him because I don't like him.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cole. I don't hate him, but
apparently he was in one of the books. I haven't read any of the books. Apparently he was a big main character in one of the books, which is kind of cool. Like bringing him over to Inquisition. That's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you're into the books and all of that lore, that's nice that they added a character from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I were to pick my favorite characters from the game, aside from obviously Cassandra and Varric, it would be Dorian and Sarah and Iron Bull. Man,
it's still astounding to me that Iron Bull is voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. I mean, he does such a good job. Man.
He's a fun character.
Yeah.
Either of you played as an elf?
No, I haven't had. Not yet.
Okay, it's interesting how Cassandra treats you and talks. Actually, it's interesting how all the characters act around you.
Because
even
you're an elf?
Solus. Yes.
Huh.
Just the reactions are always met with surprise because you're a Dalish elf, and they're always like, "Why are you by yourself? You guys don't roam by yourself."
Oh, interesting.
It's weird. And then to further point, Solus doesn't quite like you because he's not a Dalish elf, and so
Right.
there's like some bickering that goes on there, and
Man, we really need to have a spoiler cast.
but my point, I forgot. So Cassandra, it's interesting because everybody's calling you the Herald of Andraste, but you're an elf, and well, I'm an elf, and the whole thing is like she's always trying to like it almost sounds like she just really wants your approval all the time. I don't know how to describe it other than she's just constantly like going like, how do you feel about the Maker? I know you're an elf, so
Right.
tell me so that way I know that you are one of us. She just constantly
She's very pious.
yes, but she also wants like you to tell her and agree with her and just have the same beliefs very badly because you're an elf, and she's just constantly going, you're an elf, but like, are we okay?
I'll tell you, as a Quinari, like there's a metric ton of Quinari related dialogue in that game,
Oh,
and
I bet.
Cassandra is super paranoid you're gonna bring the Cune.
Oh, yeah. Well,
They
so it's crazy. For both of my playthroughs so far, I've played as a human, and the very first one, where I wasn't really being like, "Yay, the Maker! Yay, Andraste," she was doing that same thing that you're getting, Mina. Where it's sort of like, "Yeah, but like you're the Herald. Is it cool? Like, how do you feel about the Maker? Like, how about that, Andraste?" So I got a very similar thing, but the second one where I'm really playing up the religious aspect of it, she's very much like, once you have said enough times that you're behind the Maker, it seems like a flag gets set in the game where she just knows you're cool with Andraste.
Huh.
And at some point she's just like, yeah, I know you're good with Andraste, so let's talk about, this other stuff. Or like, she seems to lean on you more about what, if she was to rebuild the Chantry or the Seekers, how you would address it, because you're very faithful. So it seems like there's a lot of stuff that changes from that decision.
Interesting.
There's so much stuff in this game that's so different. Like, I can already tell my playthrough of this game is going to be significantly different from yours, Mina. And then Musum, ours is going to be not entirely similar, but there's going to be common stuff. There's going to be similar threads. I'm so excited to see where your playthrough goes, Mina, for so many reasons I cannot explain, because they are huge spoilers.
Well, I'll keep playing it, but
yeah, let us know when you finished. That way we can do a spoiler cast.
yeah, I'm gonna really kick it into high gear.
Yeah,
this month.
Man. Do you know if they released like a music album of the bar songs?
Oh my gosh, do you sit there and listen to them? Because I love the bar music.
They're really good.
They are fantastic. I would like MP3 copies.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really interesting, and I think that's one of the things that I think tells me that they spent so much time and they really loved the game that they made, is like, even the bar songs are incredibly high quality. And if I remember correctly from one of the collection quests in the game, there's like 23 of them. I mean, it's incredible.
This is a great game.
If I had finished it before I did my top 10, this would have been number one, hands down.
I don't know. I can't wait to see them improve on this system, because there are just little things here and there that I know they will add in, and it just wasn't added in because of resources. But if they're going to do a Skyrim game, there needs to be an option to sit down in the tavern.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think one of the things I'd like to see them remove from the next Dragon Age game is mounts. There's virtually no reason mounts should be in this game. They are not much faster than you are when you're walking. I really like riding a dragon, but like that's about as far as that goes.
I wasn't very impressed with the Dracolith mounts. No. They were really ugly. Like, I think the specialty mount that you get from how do I say this?
Like the collector's edition?
No, there's
like some sort of quest or mission.
Yeah, you do you find something and then do a war table thing. It's kind of the goofy mount.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoy those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no point. Like, enemies can knock you off. You can't collect items on them. Like,
I just
if
never
they-
used them.
if they made it so you automatically like picked up items that you ran over while you were on a mount, then I would be sold.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think there's three things that I'm really excited for after playing Inquisition, and one, surprisingly, is DLC. I really hope that they continue their History of Dragon Age games having multiple DLC packs. I'm kind of surprised that there really isn't any DLC available for it yet, other than if you bought the standard edition, you can get for like $10 you can buy the collector's edition extra stuff. I would not really recommend it. It's not that great.
Yeah.
It seems like they're feeding the multiplayer a bunch of DLC like they were in Mass Effect 3. I'm excited for another Dragon Age game, of course, but I'm also kind of excited for another Mass Effect game. I'm kind of curious to see what they take from Dragon Age and like what they learn from Inquisition and how they bring that into the Mass Effect series and how they kind of freshen up Mass Effect after those first three games.
if you had a Mass Effect game that operated like Inquisition, that would
I'd be dead. I wouldn't sleep. Like,
be amazing.
yeah, it'd be great.
Man, such a great game.
So anything else we love about Dragon Age? It's not going to be the last time we talk about it for sure, but
Yeah,
hopefully
that's
we'll be
true.
able to do a spoiler cast.
I know I've forgotten things, but
Yeah.
it's a fantastic game. I question whether anyone not familiar with the Dragon Age franchise will like it. It's been
Oh no, I guarantee you people who haven't played the first or second one would love this one.
Yeah.
But it just weirds me out because there's a couple people on my Twitter who don't like it, and if you look on any of the Game of the Year articles on any of the sites that award it, like people are like, "Well, that was
Oh.
predictable," and this and that. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
what do you have against this game?
I feel like a BioWare RPG is always so divisive because it's a BioWare RPG. Like, the majority of the time that I had fun with that game is just sitting down and talking to Varric. And going through all of his dialogue options, and then
There's
sitting
so
there
much character
reading
dialogue in
cards
this.
in the codex. That's most of the stuff is like, okay, well, when can I go back to shooting fireballs? Like, that's what most people I feel are thinking. And if that's your opinion, then one, I appreciate you listening to the show, but number two, like, a BioWare RPG is probably not going to be your thing. But if you really like it, I feel like. And I feel like if you didn't play Dragon Age 1 or 2, spend some time in the Codex and Inquisition. It explains a lot of that backstory stuff in a Cliff's Notes sort of way. I feel like you'll get more out of it for your decisions in 1 and 2 being carried over, but the default world state for that stuff seems fairly okay by default.
Ooh, that's another request I have. Is I would like BioWare to make a companion like phone app that lets you log in and get your customized codex.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because I would read the crap out of that. So,
I'm just waiting for them to add Inquisition to Dragon Age Keep, which they say they're going to do in the next couple weeks, because I want to see, like, now that I've done all
What
of
all
that,
the decision tree
yeah,
items
like
are.
how did I
Yeah.
like what does my tapestry look like now that I'm feeding the Keep with my decisions I've made in my game?
nice.
Yeah, so excited.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else you played?
That is it. That is all I played.
All right, Mino, what about you?
Okay, so we talked about Dragon Age Inquisition. The game I am actually going to stop playing, I will talk about right now. Final Fantasy 14.
Ooh.
And I'm quitting it for a bit, but not because of what's coming out. Because I really feel like I need to tell you guys what's coming out for Final Fantasy 14. It's amazing. First of all, the new expansion pack, and I've got this all written down so I say it correctly. The new expansion pack that's going to be coming out, Heavensward, the level cap is going to be raised from 50 to 60. That's the first thing,
Nice.
is first expansion, level cap raising. There's going to be a new playable race, and this is crazy awesome because Final Fantasy 11 never introduced new races.
Oh, that's
So
surprising.
So this is kind of like this. Whoa, they're gonna have new races
They're
be a
finally
thing,
doing it.
right?
Yeah.
So the new race, kind of like they have like horns and kind of a scaly sort of tail.
Hmm.
So it kind of reminds me of like the Draenei, kind of.
What's the race name?
It's called the All-Ra.
Oh,
The
okay.
All-Ra.
I thought it was
They're-
going to be the Bonga from the
Oh,
Final Fantasy 12.
that was actually an April Fool's joke that they did.
Oh, really?
On April Fool's, yeah. But I think what one thing I think Yoshida said at some point was that he really wants to add the Viera to
Oh, nice.
Final Fantasy 14, but he doesn't like the idea of male Viera. So I think he's just
Interesting.
trying to figure out like what he's going to do with that. But I'm kind of hoping. On top of that, there's going to be other races added to the game, not playable ones yet.
Oh, okay.
I got to make sure I get this right. There are going to be 3 new jobs at
wow.
least added. The first job is Dark Knight, which has already been previously announced. It is going to be a tank class, big sword. I don't know. We don't know what the abilities are going to be,
Final
but it
Fantasy
looks
4
cool.
business.
Right? It looks cool. The Machinist.
Oh, nice.
Guns. So that's going to be obviously a DPS class and a damage dealer class. And the last one is the Astrologian, which is going to be a healer class.
Interesting.
So those are the 3 new classes that are going to be added to the game. On top of that, there's going to be actual flying mounts, and airships are going to be added.
Yes.
And people can build airships for their how do I call it, guilds?
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen with airships? Maybe airship battling? I don't know.
I need to play Final Fantasy
There's
14
gonna be-
now.
So there's also going to be new primals, and if you don't know what primals are, they are the avatars, the summons, the whatever you want to call them,
Oh, okay. Your
the Aeon,
GFs.
your GFs.
Yeah.
The thing that you summon, Shiva, there's going to be new ones added, there's going to be at least one that is specifically only for Final Fantasy 14, so it's not going to be a callback. Like,
Oh,
all of the
interesting.
ones we've gotten have been callbacks. So, there's going to be one for Final Fantasy 14 exclusively. Obviously, new raids, new areas. They emphasized very large new areas. And what else? I tried to write down as much as I could. There's just going to be a lot with this new expansion. I look forward to seeing stuff about this, but
It's kind of nice because it sounds like a full-fledged proper expansion. Like, I'm assuming you're gonna have to pay for it.
yeah,
and
this is going to be proper.
But it sounds like it's, like Blizzard has always done well with WoW, where it's like, okay, we're gonna put out this thing that comes in a box. And it's gonna be like $30-$40, but it's gonna be worth it because of all this crazy stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of important. The level cap, obviously, you don't need to buy the expansion for it, but
Right.
I imagine like the expansion's going to seal off, the new areas, but you'll still get the basic stuff. But I am looking forward to seeing how this does. I've been really talking up Final Fantasy 14 with people who are interested in MMOs because I think they are doing patches correctly, where they're adding a lot of content, story, quests, just enough that no matter where you are in the game, end game, casual, whatever, they're constantly making sure, okay, we need to make sure we add this much casual content, and I hate using the word casual, but just like, costumes, designs.
Yeah. The people who log in for a couple hours once a week.
Because it's, you got to make sure you give stuff to people all across the board. It's not very fun if you only give it to like the people who can only clear the 1% of content in the game.
Right.
That's not much of a carrot on the stick for everybody else to stick around.
Well, because then the game just turns into if you're not going to raid, then don't even start the game. You know, like there's
Right.
been a lot of MMOs where it's like, okay, well, are you gonna raid? Like, do you want to do the end game? And people are like, I
Right.
don't know what that is. And it's like, well, just don't even pick it up.
Right. And that's the other good thing they've been doing. Like there's the end game raid which they update. Then there's like the everybody can join sort of I put air quotes raid. It's like
Like a
a
public
giant
world thing.
yeah, a public dungeon. There's like you can get like 18 people in there and everybody fights it out or whatever, and it calls from a bunch of different places to fight, and you get pretty decent equipment there. And then if you're like, I can't do that, then there's the smaller dungeons.
Hmm.
And by doing those dungeons you get points, so that way you can buy gear that's really pretty good. You just have to do like a weekly sort of thing. Like
Right.
there's a cap on how much you can do that, because obviously if you could just get the best gear in the game, you know,
Yeah.
doing it like that, you would
yeah.
just do that. So it's kind of nice that they've got like different ways people can go about getting pretty good gear. Like obviously you should the people who do the raid, the really hard raid, the 1%, obviously their gear has to be, just logically thinking,
Yeah,
it has to be the best
it's the
gear.
best and it looks the coolest.
Because if you don't do that, then the people who are playing the 1% have no incentive to do that.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And you lose that customer. So it's kind of nice to see that they've made the right steps in making this game have a ton of life, and people will enjoy playing this game. So I think they're going about this the right way.
Yeah,
and
it
with
sounds
that,
like it. Yeah.
and with that, that's all I have to say about Final Fantasy 14. So I played Persona Q, and I know I said I'm playing Risky last month, and I still am.
Oh boy.
I beat the first dungeon.
Oh, nice.
I did it.
Oof.
I did it. So if anybody listening to this is like, I'm trying to beat Risky, and they're like, I can't beat that first boss. First of all, it's really important that you have a poison ability, and you just need to keep that up. Just keep that poison on.
Yeah.
Do it, because I think poison was doing like 160 damage per round, and like collectively my entire party, when I had them attack, barely did 160
Oh, okay.
in a round. So
Yeah, it's a weird Etrian Odyssey thing where status effects actually really, really matter in Etrian Odyssey. And more
They
so
do.
than like a lot of other RPGs where it's like poison, yeah, okay, sure. Was it going to do like
Whatever.
20 damage? No, it does a ton.
no, you need to do some poison.
Yeah.
So I think I beat it with all of my characters around level 12-ish.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, and then the other thing, which was the reason why I was probably dying a lot, I had my main character in the front line, move that character to the back line,
Yeah.
and just have him be like the healer or the person who does the poison, just like whatever. Just make sure he's in the back line, because you don't want him getting hits and dying, and then you have to restart the fight over again.
Yeah, that's a bad time.
Yeah. that was really dumb of me. And just make sure that, I know this sounds like common sense, but apparently I didn't think this through, that your front line only has 2 characters, because very likely they are going to die, and have, just like lower the amount of people who are going to die on this field.
Your attack surface.
So, yeah, I beat the first boss, and I'm not going to spoil anything really. I've got an idea of where this story is going, and I hope it jumps and goes upside down on me, so that way I don't figure out what's going on, but I have an idea. So I got the whole cast now. They're all together, and they're talking and stuff. And then I was like, I'll go to the second dungeon. I'll poke my head in and see.
Just check it out.
Just kind of look.
Yeah.
And I soundly got my butt handed to me. Like, it's a good thing. I have an ability on Risei that lets me escape out of dungeons. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, But on Risky, I would recommend keeping that ability and just making sure that you fuse new personas with that ability over.
Hmm.
Because in mid-fight, if I look at it, I'm like, this is not going to end well. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
I'm like, call Rise, and
Get
Rise's
Rise
like,
in here.
everybody leave. And it teleports you to the exit of the dungeon.
Oh, right.
It's a very handy ability, especially when you're going in over your head, or if you're really, really greedy like I am, and you're like, I could just take a couple more steps and
Yeah.
unlock this thing
There's a
on
chest
my
over
map.
there. Oh, man.
So, yeah. I really like Persona Q. I'm having a really good time with it. I really like this cast altogether, and I really hope that they continue making more things like this. I'm really happy that the mystery dungeon Etrian Odyssey is going to be a thing
Yeah.
that I have to buy.
Yeah. That's very exciting.
Yes. So that was Persona Q. For whatever reason, I decided I need to play Persona 4 Golden again.
Why not? it's so good.
Right? So I did that. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to play Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah.
So I started a new file, and I'm playing on the Vita TV, because if you have a Vita TV and you have Persona 4 Golden, why would you not?
Yeah.
It looks good. I have so much fun with this game. I beat Yukiko's dungeon, and I think I just recruited her into the group, and now we're just starting to see some of the next dungeon coming on up, and I just love this game so much. And what I didn't remember was, apparently you couldn't change the difficulty settings until you beat it, like, the first time. Like, you couldn't mess around with the settings.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was right from the get-go, and I was incorrect. You actually have to beat it the first time around.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was from the beginning, too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, apparently you can't do that. But I love that game. So I have played a bunch of other games, but not that much in terms of time. So the last game I am playing is Dot Hack Infection.
Oh.
You know, the PS2 game from forever ago.
Yeah.
So I decided I was gonna do a.
Do you have all 4 of them?
I do, and I have the 3 GU as well.
Oh, wow.
I'm planning on doing a Let's Play and uploading it to YouTube of me going through all these games, because I beat the first Dot Hack Infection, and I believe I got pretty far into Mutation, but I never beat Outbreak or Quarantine.
I heard they were good, and I feel like a Let's Play that would be really great, because I feel like so many people missed them for some reason. I feel like they just kind of came out and people were like, yeah, I'll get those later.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it, and I like it's the original Sword Art Online, right?
Yeah.
It's the original.
Yeah.
And I just wanna play through it and actually beat it, because when I played GU, I got all the way to the 3rd game, to the final boss, and then my save file was deleted, so
Oof.
I lost like the entire history of my GU.
Rough.
So yeah, so and I was really particular about wanting that file, because I had worked really hard at all my relationship values and made sure to carry over every little missable and collectible, and I was just like, I'm carefully saving this over and bringing it all over to this one.
Carrying this fine china.
It was very, very, very meticulous. Well, I found out that apparently there is something you can carry over from the first 4 games.
Oh, no.
Like, apparently a record of you got the flag to clear. You're gonna add this to your GU file. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do all of this then.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, if I'm gonna do all this, I might as well just record me doing all of
totally.
this. So I plan on uploading that on YouTube. And how far did I actually get in this game so far? I've made 4 episodes, and I've recruited the character Natsume, who is a Twin Blade user. She's an optional character that you can actually miss and just not get, and she won't be in any of the other games. But if you get her in the first one, she carries over into all of them.
That's impressive that they just have an optional character in the first one. If it You miss her? She's
Several.
just gone.
They have several.
Wow.
I was kind of stunned too.
Yeah, that's some
But-
BioWare level stuff
Yeah,
right there.
exactly.
They did this back on the PS2.
That's impressive. Wow.
So, I look forward to actually beating this game, but it's really good. I do what I didn't realize was how good some of this voice acting was and how bad some of it was. Because you have like amazing voice actors that are signed up for this, and then you have some really questionable ones where I was just like,
Some people just starting out in their voice acting career.
right.
Yeah.
But it's Bandai, so
Yeah. You get a
There
little
were
bit
some-
of variety
yeah.
there.
there was. So I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I've played this month. Not
and
a lot.
all I've played this month was Dragon Age Inquisition, so we're to talk plenty enough about that. And before I spoil anything in that game, let's take a break.
Yay.
All right. Whew.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that's my only regret about playing Inquisition is I haven't been playing Persona Q.
Yeah, I just I finally have all my games in my collection now, and I'm finally going through and cataloging them. The catalog is up to 887 games at the moment.
God, I don't want to do that.
It's only physical. I'm not counting digital.
Oh, okay.
Digital is another problem. And I just pulled out my whatever collector's edition of Persona Q that I had, and I was like, oh man, I need to get back to you. And then I put it next to my other forgotten Atlas games. I was like, man, I'm sorry, games.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. That's just never going to happen.
Oh man. Yeah, that bums me out about the Persona fighting games. I wish I could just not be good like I am at 2D fighters.
Yeah. I've
And
played
play
so
through
many Arc
those.
System Works games that I kind of know what I'm doing, and I really can't play those games. I just play too much
I know.
of them.
I know you can actually set, and this is going to be silly, on Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, you can actually set it so that way you have an AI fighter beat the level for you.
Oh, that's
I
right.
wonder-
Yeah.
You can
Do you
just
think-
watch it.
Do
Yeah,
you think
I
you
forgot
can
about that.
download like the story from the first one and then
Yes, you
enable that
can.
AI?
You can, yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I need to do that.
Because
Because that's the only way I'm going to beat the first one, I think.
Yeah, the first one's long.
I pretty much kind of I didn't realize I turned it on until I was like, wait, I am playing way too good at this, and then I moved my hands off.
You're like,
That
oh,
explains.
right.
It's doing it for me. I don't know what button I pressed, but I activated the autoplay.
Yeah.
So I read kind of I started like on Dragon Age 20-30 hours into it, I was thinking like, I wonder why BioWare hasn't done their traditional DLC character.
Oh, yeah.
And started looking into that. It turns out they can't do it because they didn't build in the pre-stuff to do it, and they didn't want to take the public backlash at them having content on the disc.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
So we will allegedly receive no DLC characters for Inquisition.
Wow. Well, that's probably okay. There's already 9 characters, so
Yeah,
that's
there's plenty of
probably
meat
enough.
there. It was just so different. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, usually it's like, oh yeah, that stuff was on the disc, $15. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
oh, that's okay then. Oh man, all right. Let me take a drink here. Water. All right, you guys ready to wrap this thing up?
Yep.
I'm trying to see if we have any tweets. Not really. We have one email though. All right, let's do it. Starting again in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk RPG releases for January 2015. Atelier, Aisha Plus, The Alchemist of Dusk, coming out for the PS Vita on the 13th of January. I was talking during the break about me going through my collection. I have one of these games for PS3. I'm thinking,
You have the Totori one?
I wish I had. Oh, I just put it somewhere. I'll look it up here in a second. It was like the very first one that came out for. Oh, here we go. Let me just pull up my collection while we're talking. Oh, PS3, something, something, something. Teller Rorona, The Alchemist of Arland.
Ah, Verona. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the one before Totori. Totori came after that.
Okay, I was thinking, man, I should probably play one of these. They seem pretty cool, and I have one. So
I have a friend who swears to me that one of the PS2 ones of this, I think it's Iris, is one of the best games ever made.
I've heard that about like one or two of these games, and I think the PS2 one is one of those where people are like, no, you haven't played this game, you need to go. Like Dark Cloud 2. Like,
Oh wait,
nobody's
they're
played
all
that.
Iris. My bad.
Oh.
I don't know. One of them is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, you were Dark Cloud 2, you were saying.
Yeah, like Dark Cloud 2. People were like, oh, I've never played it. It's probably not that great. No, it's one of the
I
best
love it.
games ever made. You should probably go play it if you can.
I love that game.
The other big notable RPG coming out in January is Citizens of Earth for Wii U, PC, 3DS, PS4, and PS3. Yay, Mina's doing the hooray arms.
Buy this game.
Yeah, buy this
Buy
game.
this game.
Support not only Atlas, but support a company who failed a Kickstarter, and Atlas was kind of nice to pull them out through here. And it's like Earthbound.
It is an Earthbound inspired game.
Yeah. It's
gonna be
probably
great.
pretty great. Let's move to news stories. A new Shadowrun Returns Kickstarter coming in January. This shadowy announcement. Ooh,
It's going to be in New Tokyo.
nice.
I really, if you didn't pick up Shadowrun Returns on the Steam sales, you should have,
Yeah.
because they're really great games, and I will entirely throw down for another Kickstarter.
Yeah. That's kind of nice about Kickstarter, where it's like, hey, if you guys want another expansion, just throw money behind it. If you don't, then that's cool too. You don't have to. So, but throw money behind it. We need more Shadowruns. There's a new Saga game coming out in 2015. Seems to be a PS Vita exclusive. The only thing they've shown are 2 pieces of art. So not a lot about there. But I think that's kind of notable because Square, for let's say the last 15 years, has been really weird about Saga in general. Most people don't realize they've played a Saga game. Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 for the Game Boy were Saga games. You might have played Saga Frontier 1 or 2 on the PS1. I'm surprised that they're doing more Saga games that aren't mobile games. I didn't think they were going to really put a lot more weight behind that series when they have not done they've not done right by it lately. So I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to be. Hopefully it's good. That's all I care about if it's a new Saga game. I just hope it's good. Xseed is releasing a PSP game in early 2015. That is not a mistype on my part. They're releasing Brandish the Dark Legacy. Should be coming out for PSP early 2015. I do not believe that they're going to get a physical release of this. But they're going to release it digitally. It will be compatible with PS Vita and the PlayStation TV. This originally came out on the Super NES in 1995. Falcom put it out on the PSP in 2009, and they passed on an American version, a North American version. I don't know why Xseed is coming out with this now, but yay, I think. It's supposed to be good, but strange choice.
SNES RPGs are generally pretty good, but
That's true. And the ones that really aren't, we just didn't ever get. Like Treasure Hunter G. No one wanted to play that. We didn't get that for a reason. One of the visual novels we talk about, for anybody that might be new to this show, we talk about visual novels every once in a while because it's like RPGs, maybe a little bit of an overlooked genre, an overlooked segment of gaming. One of the visual novels that everybody talks about and seemingly everybody loves, Steins Gate, came out on PC recently and came out on Steam. But it's going to be coming to PS Vita and PS3 in 2015. Man, the Vita seems like a really great platform for a visual novel. I will probably support this game. I've not yet played this game as much as I love visual novels. I will probably buy this game on Vita. I'd like more visual novels to come out on Vita here.
Yep.
And I'd like to play that game because everybody says it's amazing. And I hadn't watched the anime either. So, fingers crossed. And last news story we have here, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker, coming to 3DS in 2015. So they're taking Devil Survivor 2, and unlike Overclocked, I think was the remake of the first Devil Survivor.
Yep.
They're adding way more to this. So apparently they're fully voicing all the dialogue in the game now. And then they're going and they're doubling the content from the original one. Apparently there's a bunch of content that's at or after the end of the game that expands on the original ending, along with a new character. And the cool thing that they're doing is, even if you didn't play the first one for some reason, if you just want to go to the new stuff, you can just pick that at the very beginning. And it's like, look, I played Devil Survivor 2. I'm good. I've done my time. Let's just show me the new stuff. So I'm kind of happy that Atlas is kind of, let's say, respecting our time a little bit more. We're just like, just show me the new stuff. I got through Devil Survivor 2 already. I'm good.
Yeah. I couldn't get into Devil Survivor 2, but I'll be picking up this version and hopefully going in with a fresh mind.
Yeah,
I think I will join you in that.
I think I probably will too, because I played Devil Survivor 1 and it was fine. And I think I missed Devil Survivor 2. I just never picked it up. I think that was for the DS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just never picked it up for some reason. It's in my Atlas. I'd love to own every Atlas game, as impossible as that's going to be. But that's one of my outstanding games that I really need to purchase.
Well, and with Overclocked, like, because I had beaten the crap out of Devil Survivor 1. I had gotten all the endings. The only thing I hadn't done was beat Lucifer because that was way too hard.
Yeah. In every SMT game, it's like, oh, special boss Lucifer. And it's like, nah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Half your abilities are disabled. They have a team wipe button that they'll press if you equip them or something.
Yep.
But what they did in Overclocked was all the new content was literally at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
It was on 3DS. You couldn't transfer your save data, and I just could not bring myself to go through that game again.
Yeah, it's just, for like, some of those handheld SMT games are so hard, and it's not something you're going to knock out in like 10 hours. You're going to be sitting there 40, 50, 60 at a minimum. So,
well, and I beat the game 5 times.
Oh, man.
I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, jeez.
Once you beat it once, it's significantly easier. But
okay.
Yeeps. All right, that's all we have for news stories. Let's move over to, we don't have any tweets, but we do have an email this time from Justin, a.k.a. Green and Satsu. It says, hey, PUP players. Hello. Been listening to PUP since episode 1 and occasionally lurk in the chat. Thank you for both, by the way. Mina's streaming of Final Fantasy VIII finally got me out of my hidey hole to ask a question or two. First, Mina, I watched about an hour of your tech setup for Final Fantasy VIII and didn't hear the answer. What mods did you use to make it look and sound so amazing?
Oh, this is a very good question. And move on to the second one while I look for it.
Second, FF8 is my favorite comfort food game because you can break it so open so early. Do you know of any other games that you can break it open and it's still fun? Thank you for the monthly show. You make my car rides to school and work so much better. Keep up the work. Other RPGs you can break open really early. There is an infinite money glitch in Dragon Age Inquisition I've been abusing a little bit for my Nightmare playthrough.
Share.
I will send you the link. It's
okay.
It's not complicated, but it's kind of hard to explain. Okay. And I don't want to spend the time going through and.
Okay.
It's not that interesting, but you can get a lot of money. Of which you don't really need money in the game. I don't know why I'm doing it.
Because I want to own all the weapon schematics that they sell.
Oh, that's true. Other games you can break open early for RPGs. I feel like there's a lot of games that have new game pluses, like Chrono Trigger, that you can just break open real early. But I mean, that's sort of the spirit of the game. Final Fantasy VIII is kind of unique in and of itself, where it's just like you need to learn Petrify a bunch at the early game and apply it to Squall's HP, and then you beat the game.
The original version of Star Control 2 had a glitch where you could continually sell landers even after your inventory was exhausted.
Oh, interesting.
And so you could just entirely sell them out and then max out your ship just like immediately, and then it's just a matter of finding the resource for the better stuff. But
Huh.
um,
I checked. I'm looking at my collection, and I don't. I'm trying to think basically from a speedrunner standpoint, because they're usually the ones that I see expose the most amount of glitches.
I mean, if you look at like the Demon Souls and Dark Souls series, depending on how skilled / patient you are, you can probably break a lot of those games pretty early.
Yeah, by getting like the right item builds.
Yeah.
Really.
Other than that, I don't know. That's pretty hard because RPGs are typically fairly straightforward like that.
yeah.
They usually want you to grind, which is and 8 is so odd because not grinding completely busts that game.
Yeah, you get further along by not grinding.
Yep. So the actual music that I used was this, and I'll make sure to give Boston the links that I used. The Better Music mod, and basically it has a roses and wine option. It's really they lay out the instructions pretty well. And that adjusted the music to have a bunch of different options you could pick. You could either pick like the really nice cleaned up version of the music, or you could get the orchestral versions, which is what I was using. Yeah, so the music sounded amazing because it was being performed by an orchestra and like not just the one that you would hear in the game.
Yeah.
So it was really, really nice. There was only one glitch that happened in the Ragnarok where the music echoed twice, and I don't know how to fix that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. As for the graphic mods, Final Fantasy VII, because it is way more beloved than 8, has had a bunch of teams work on updating the graphics. For 8, there is a very, 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 very smaller community that is working on it, and I only was able to really update Squall, Selphie, and Quistis. All the other characters were just the original ones, and there's also a card mod to update the looks of the cards and make them very clean. And yes, this is very important. Yeah. All the cards have been fixed.
Nice.
So now they look all high quality. So there is a Steam guide that somebody has put up on like the updates that people keep doing for this.
I have seen that before. Yeah, someone put out like a really good Steam guide where it's like, download this thing, put it here. Download this thing, put that there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go ahead and give Boston the link, but it is pretty straightforward, I feel. But yeah, if you want to use, I don't know if you should use the character textures yet, but definitely go ahead and get the one that says Tripod FF8 Triple Triad HQ. Make sure you get that one, and then for the audio, get the Better Music mod, and then it will redirect you to pick up certain types of music, and that will be what you download. And just follow the instructions, and you'll have a very nice looking Final Fantasy VIII.
And they also do better music mods for Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 for GBA, and I think they do it for 7 for PC as well.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty common thing, because a lot of those versions, when they get ported over, especially the GBA ones, they lose something in the port. So a lot of people are kind of, since the music is so beloved for the Final Fantasy series as a whole, people are rather serious about it. So
After playing 8, I have to say I think that might have been the game with the best Final Fantasy music.
It's really
I'm
good.
willing to fight.
People overlook 8's soundtrack a lot. I feel like that's a mistake because it's varied and all of it is incredibly high quality.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
All right, but that's all the emails and tweets we have this month. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you want to find out more, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickingupPixels. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. And everything else is on the website. Musum, where can we find you?
Musum.bandcamp.com.
And Mina? Sorry, I just zoned out for a second.
You can find me either at twitch.tv, Minako Rocket, or you can find me at hitbox.tv, Risette, Risette, or you can find me on YouTube, Minako Rocket, Minako Rocket.
And you can find the rest of my audio-related shenanigans at e1m1.com. And hopefully I'll start live streaming here again at some point. I had a lot of fun doing that. And that's our episode for this month. We'll see you all next month.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching us live and for coming in and chatting. See you next month. Bye. Oh, I actually have to move it over here and click this thing. There we go.